Okay, we're live.
Okay, thank you. All right. Good evening. So we're at the January meeting, and we've actually got two meetings. We've got an organizational meeting and a regular board meeting. I would now like to call the organizational meeting of the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities to order, and the meeting's called at 6:02. As we know, we have this organizational meeting by January 31st of each year. So first on the agenda is oath of office. Leslie Eames Kuntz will, board attorney, will administer the oath of office to myself.
Thank you, Dan. Dan Sutter, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws and the rules and the regulations of the board now and in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during the continuation in said office and until your successor is appointed? If so, answer by saying, I do.
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Sutter, for your commitment to the Stark County community, and I hereby name you to the Board of Developmental Disabilities. Congratulations, and thank you in advance for your continued service.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Official now.
All right, another term. Yeah, thank you very much.
And with that, I wish you well, and I'm gonna bow out unless you need me for anything, Bill.
Thankfully, we don't.
Thankfully, no. But you're always welcome.
Thanks. I think I got a few things rattling back behind me, so I'm gonna take off. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you again. Yep. Okay, we'll now take the roll call. Jim Anderson.
Present.
Dr. Falvo Lang.
Here.
Maria Higgy. She might be muted. Maria Higgy. Oh, Maria was muted.
Yeah. We'll accept the wave.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. We'll accept that. All right. Carmelita Smith.
Here.
Cindy Sutter is excused. Dan Sutter is here. Okay, moving to election of officers. The nominating committee made up of board members Roger Gines as chair, Dr. Falvo Lang and Carmelita Smith proposed the following 2021 slate of officers: President Dan Sutter, Vice President Carmelita Smith, and Recording Secretary Dr. Falvo Lang. So that brings us to Board Resolution 010121 to approve the 2021 slate of officers. I need a motion.
Higgy moves. I found my mute button. Sorry.
That's okay.
Anderson second.
Okay. Any discussion? With none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And no abstentions? All right, thank you. The resolution is approved. So during the organizational meeting, we set the schedule for the board meetings for the year. There's a copy of the tentative schedule in our board packet, which has this meeting the fourth Tuesday of the month, except in June and December. And are there any questions or concerns with the proposed schedule? If there are none, this will be the schedule for the regular board meeting for the year. And then moving to the committee assignments. The assignments are for Ethics Council, Jim Anderson and Maria Higgy. Personnel Committee will be Cindy, Carmelita, and Maria will be chair. Paula Herrera will remain a community member assigned to the committee. And for the Finance Committee, we've got Dr. Falvo Lang as chair, Jim Anderson, and myself. And then finally, for the Nominating Committee, we've got Maria to chair, Dr. Falvo Lang, and Cindy. They will meet prior to December 31st or the end of the year to propose a slate for the 2022 calendar. Meeting times, the Finance Committee meetings will be held at noon on the Tuesday prior to the monthly board meetings, and Personnel committee meetings will be held at 3 o'clock the Friday before the board meetings. So those draft schedules are in our board packets. Are there any questions or concerns with the proposed schedules for those committee meetings? Given the new committee assignments, if desired, we can set new dates and times for the committee meetings. If anyone has any comments on that or proposed changes, let me know. And if there are no proposed changes, these will be the schedules for the Finance and Personnel committees for the year. So the Ethical Code of Conduct Declaration and Conflict of Interest Declaration. Each year we sign these two, and Katrina will be sending both of these documents out through DocuSign after the meeting. Everyone please read and sign those documents and get them back to Katrina within the next 2 weeks. And then we did the annual board self and board assessments. And within those board packets are those assessments that each of us completed. And, upon reviewing or looking those over, our collective feedback, it seems our board is functioning well, but we also want to get better. As board members, we all have strengths that bring a good mix as a governing board. I think Roger Giants summed it up best when he gave some of his parting words. He said that he was leaving the board with the best collective group during his total time on the board of 12 years. And that was some good summary of kind of how we are as a board. So given these assessments, we'll be working with Bill and his staff for follow-up that includes opportunities for events, activities and fundraisers, as well as appropriate training opportunities that meet our needs. I just want to thank everyone very much for completing the assessments. It's a great springboard for us into 2021. And that regarding training, we've got board in-service topics. To date, we've not received the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities mandated training topics, but we'd like to, again, do 2 one-hour trainings in person and 2 via Relias, the online learning management system. Please let me know if this meets our needs. Let us plan for the first board in training to occur after the board meeting next month in February, and propose the second one to be after the April meeting. And then the 2 additional hours will be through Relias, the agency's learning system. So we'll direct Bill and his staff to ensure the feedback addressed within our self-assessments gets addressed. Any other business that we have for the organizational meeting? Any questions and concerns that we haven't covered? If none, this will conclude the business of the organizational meeting. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second?
Carmelita, second. This is.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The organizational meeting is adjourned at 6:10. So I would now like to call the regular board meeting to order. That meeting is called at 6:10. We will forego the roll call since we already took a roll call in the organizational meeting, and we'll move to in memoriam. We extend our sincere condolences to the families of the following people who have passed away since our last meeting. Those we serve are Jeff Allen Marks. Jeffrey, age 63, passed away Thursday, December 10th. He received services from the SSA department. John Robert Scala. John, age 69, passed away on Friday, December 18th. He received services from the SSA department. Nick Hartshorn. Nicholas, age 42, passed away Tuesday, December 29th. He received services from the SSA department. Susan Shea Susan, age 67, passed away December 13th. She received services from the SSA department. Andrew Michael Nick Roika. Andrew, age 66, passed away Friday, January 1st. He received services from the SSA department. Carol Ann Maziel. Carol, age 69, passed away Wednesday, December 30th. She received services from the SSA department. And Arnold Stanley Adams Jr. Arnold, age 63, passed away Sunday, January 3rd. He attended Echoing Connections and received services from the SSA department. Let's take a moment of silence in their honor. Okay, thank you. I now need a motion to approve minutes from the regular board meeting held December 15th.
Hickey moves.
Second?
Lang, second.
Any additions, revisions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the board meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Board meeting minutes are approved. So now we have recognition of retirees. Connie will review a brief PowerPoint presentation to recognize 2 retirees.
Good evening, board. I would like to share a presentation with you. Okay, so this evening we're going to be recognizing 2 employees who are both retiring at the end of January, David Gingrich and Valjean Martin. See Dave here pictured with his artwork that he was presented about a week ago. Dave is an intervention specialist assistant at Eastgate, and he has 22 years of service. The first 20 years of Dave's time with the board, he worked in adult services and then came over to Eastgate when the adult services program transitioned. So here's a couple of fun pictures of Dave. And then we also want to recognize Valjean Martin. Valjean is an SSA with 13 years of service, and she works a lot with youth. Here's some pictures of Valjean, always with a smile on her face. So we do want to express our appreciation and thanks to Dave and Valjean for their years of service and wish them well in a long and very happy and healthy retirement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you and congratulations to the retirees. We at this time will entertain anyone for public speaks. Do we have anyone for public speaks? No? Okay, so then we will move on to the president's report. So I appreciate the feedback provided in the board assessment and self-assessments. I'm hopeful and optimistic for the new year and what the vaccine may bring for the last half of the year. As board president, I love and appreciate the partnership we have with Stark County Health Department, Altman and Mercy Hospitals, and looking forward to the next week and a half, especially for the vaccinations of for 1,100 people we serve who are on the phase 1B list. In fact, my daughter's been scheduled and she's excited about it. And thank you to our nurses and SSAs for their work and timely follow-up in all this effort. With that, I conclude the president's report. We'll now have the superintendent's report from Bill.
Good evening. Happy New Year. Tonight, my report will consist of a review of our strategic plan progress report. A year ago, we did not anticipate the adaptations to the plan that we would have to make. Some objectives were suspended altogether. At the onset of the pandemic, we called each person we serve and or their parent or guardian to check on any needs they may have and stayed in contact with them more than we ever have before. We shopped and delivered countless meals and groceries to the people we serve and their families who were in need. We also took steps to provide support to our provider community by ensuring that they had personal protective equipment and provided them financial assistance as well. Initially, we deployed some of our staff to assist providers who needed shifts covered. We then advertised job openings for direct support professionals and paid for them to get their required background checks. We even had our graduation ceremonies at family homes to commemorate our students' time with us. We pivoted, we adjusted, we adapted. Yes, there was heartbreaking loss and grief. There also was perseverance, strength, and flexibility shown by the people we serve, their families, our employees, and the provider community during a year that proved like no other. One incredibly surprising metric from our strategic plan is the number of people that are competitively employed. If I were a betting man, I would have assumed that that number would have gone down considerably. But we started the year near 209, and we finished the year with 259 people employed out in the community. There are countless people of that number that actually worked, did not miss a day of work, even through the darkest days of March and April. Lisa will at this time kind of scroll through the report and indicate some highlights. If you have any questions, please let us know. And of course, I may chime in as well. So I'll turn it over to Lisa at this time.
Good evening. It's nice to see everyone in this new year. As a review, first I wanted to start and remind you that the 2017-2020 strategic plan had 4 main focus areas with individual initiatives and supporting tasks and metrics under each one. Advocacy and community integration are central to Focus Area 1 initiatives. As Bill described, this set of initiatives was more challenging overall to meet. Some trended downward, while others improved. You can see from the color coding in the document we shared with you that the pandemic slowed or completely paused most activities that were community-oriented. To help indicate this, we added a small pause button icon next to several of the colored dots in this focus area. While we did pause much of Special Olympics programming, we were able to play a revised intramural softball season this fall with the Green Sliders taking the championship. They had a blast. I did also want to make one correction in this section. At the bottom of page 6, when we were talking about the Next Chapter book clubs, we actually had 4 community book clubs that continued to meet virtually through the Zoom platform, not one as was reported in the draft. So I wanted to make note of that correction for you. Initiatives in the second focus area relate to educating those we serve, families, and the community about the role of the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities. This includes awareness campaigns of how our levy dollars are spent on services, as well as rolling out various trainings, informational events, and collaborations with community partners and school districts. While we had successes during these 4 years, it is very apparent that public awareness and education in a larger scope must remain a priority going forward. Focus Area 3, Oversight. When we started this 4 years ago, this was a response to our changing role from the provider of services to funding and supporting people in the community. Initiatives in this category historically met great success and solidified Stark DD's role supporting provider businesses and direct support professionals caring for those we serve. I think one of the highlights in this focus area has to be the development of an employee resource network and subsequent hiring of a success coach to address the DSP recruitment and retainment. Finally, in the focus area of sustainability, we met the greatest overall success during the 4 years of this plan. There is no doubt the pandemic affected how we supported people in 2020. But as Bill said, we shifted, we reset, and we came up with safe but critical methods to keep people healthy and safe. With that, are there any questions for Bill or I on the progress report for 2020? All right. With that, thank you very much.
What is important to us is that we're better than we were 4 years ago. We are better than when we were a year ago. And we want to continue that growth and progress as we move forward this year. This plan did assist us and guide us, but we know there's more work to do, which you'll hear about shortly as we springboard to our next and new strategic plan. Before I conclude my report, I would be remiss to provide an update on vaccinations. Over the last week, we are reaching out and contacting everyone that is 16 years old and older and registering for a kid clinic that is going to occur on January 28th, where over 400 people are being scheduled, and then another dedicated clinic scheduled for February 4th for the people we serve. We are urging patience and attempting to manage everyone's expectations because of the number of vaccines and clinics are contingent on the number of vaccines our county receives. But we are planning that over 1,150 people who are eligible for the vaccine that we serve will be vaccinated in the next 2 weeks. So stay tuned and wait for the good news because we do believe it will come. This concludes the superintendent's report, if there are no questions.
Okay, thank you. And so the committee and department reports are in our board packet. Are there any additions or deletions that need to be made at this time? With none, we'll go to the next area. We don't have any old business, and the new business we have before us is the 2021 to 2023 strategic plan. Bill, if I could turn it back over to you, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our new strategic plan was developed over 4 sessions and 8 hours of meetings. The steering committee was made up of primarily people served, family members, and the provider community. We did not have our management team involved directly, but they did provide input into the initiatives that were developed as well. We also sought all of our stakeholders' input by putting out a survey where we had about 100 respondents. The steering committee took that information and then turned it into the plan that is before you. To review the focus areas, Lisa Paramore will review the advocate and educate areas. Ed Lewis will share the one on provider relations. We'll only take a few moments to talk about the plan before you and provide you an opportunity to answer any questions you may have. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa at this time.
Hello again. I wanted to start off by first pointing out that the steering committee actually drafted a new mission statement. It is found on page 6 of the document. And rather than having a separate vision and mission statement, which is pretty classic in a strategic plan, the committee, through much discussion, settled upon one super statement, which is supporting choices and creating opportunities for people with disabilities and their families. So as we turn to the goals of the new plan, we begin with education. The focus area of education strives to help those we serve, families, our employees, community partners, and the greater Stark County community to understand the various ways we help people with disabilities to live a meaningful life. This includes providing information and educating about the changes in the DD industry. As I mentioned earlier this evening, educating the community on who we are and what we do must be a day in and day out campaign. There are 5 main initiatives with supporting tasks to help us accomplish this. Focus area 2 is advocacy, and the initiatives here build on the successes of the previous strategic plan. Through the survey feedback and the voices of the steering committee, we knew that advocacy must continue to be a critical focus. As the new mission says, we will work to foster choices and opportunities by working together while also addressing some of the barriers to community engagement and participation. This focus area has 3 main initiatives with supporting tasks that train, engage, and encourage advocates to work on behalf of themselves and others. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ed Lewis, who will talk about the 3rd focus area, provider relations.
Hello, everyone. As stated previously, in the last strategic plan, the county board was transitioning from a position of being a day service provider to being in a position of supporting providers in our community. During this transition, many people were concerned about provider oversight and how we were working with our providers. As we have grown, we have also transitioned, and this current strategic plan shows that transition, where we now find ourselves in a position of support and relationship building. We have found that the best way to assure quality services is through joining together and working to improve provider access to the support we have to offer. You will see in these initiatives that such items such as the Employer Resource Network, also known as Boost, is a focus. The EAP that we offer to our own employees also being offered to the provider community. Such efforts as the Gold Star Collaborative, Relias trainings being made available to our provider community, and many others are the highlights of this provider relations section of the new strategic plan as we move forward.
So we'll entertain any questions or concerns, comments, or not.
This is Maria. I absolutely love the combined mission and vision statement. I think it's a powerful message of support and vision and long-term thinking. So I want to start by saying I got goosebumps when that was read. I really commend you on the strategic plan. I think it's very focused and gives a clear path on how we can continue to serve and continue to empower people. So I just want to compliment all that were involved in it. I think this is one of the strongest plans I've seen.
Dan, did you want to comment? I mean, you're also involved in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was fortunate to be part of the strategic plan, and with being on the board now for 8 years, I really felt that connection of the progress and improvements that Start to D is making. That is both myself as an advocate and the system, Start to D system as a whole. And I just can reiterate what I mentioned last month. Our previous plan, we made special emphasis on full inclusion and sustainability. And like Ed said, provider oversight. And for this current plan, we recognize that these things are ingrained in us. And as Lisa pointed out, that we leverage that into this new plan. And so now these things that we focused on last plan, they're a given. So this is allowing us to reach new goals, which at the end translates into better choices and more services for individuals served. So we're really happy with it.
We couldn't be more appreciative of the committee that was, again, made up of primarily people served, of family members and the providers. So it really, though they were always a part of our previous plans, they were the predominant voice here. And we said, without we just said, tell us what you want us to do, and we will do it. And that's the genesis of this plan. So kudos to them. Kudos to real life issues that are that is driving this. So we're very pleased as we go forward to accomplish the objectives in this plan.
Okay.
So if there's nothing else, we can go ahead and move on. And there is a resolution to formally approve it.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you. That concludes our new business. So at this time, we'll have review of policies slated for first reading, and Connie Polton will present the policies.
Thanks, Dan. First reading policies are policy 2.28, enabling community employment through transportation support. This policy was reviewed with no revisions. Policy 2.32, procurement card program. Again, this policy was reviewed with no revisions. Policy 3.11, powered industrial trucks, reviewed with no revisions. Policy 4.08, outside employment, and policy 4.13, anti-bullying policy. Both policies were reviewed with no revisions. Policy 4.46, employee benefits. We did have two minor revisions to clarify when part-time and casual employees are and are not eligible for health insurance benefits. Then our last two policies are both IT policies, policy 6.02, backup policy, and 6.10, network access and authentication. Both these policies were reviewed with no revisions suggested. That's it.
Okay, thank you. That moves to our resolutions. Starting off with resolution 010221, approving the board expenditures for December. Need a motion?
Anderson motioned.
And a second.
Higgy seconds.
Okay, thank you. And then we've got discussion from Lee.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So hopefully everybody can see this pretty well. I made it larger. So here we'll look at the month of December. We had total local revenues, 152,000, state total revenues of 209,673, and federal total of 479,000 for total revenues of the month of 840,945. Now just trying to look over here on the right for our variance, looking at our 2020 year-to-date compared to 2019. A main focus, on that pipeline revenue that we started getting in 2020, which is why we see that positive variance up in our local revenues. Looking at our state revenues, we did receive, we lost the DODD funding during 2020. We also had a decrease in ODE funding, which is why we had that decrease there as well. And then down at the bottom, some cost report settlements that we got in 2019, which we just did not receive in 2020. So that's the reason for those variances there as far as year-to-date revenue goes. Looking at our December wages, we had two payrolls during December. One of the payrolls, we did pay out a vacation payout, about $55,000 in the first payroll of December. Total benefits paid of $673,000, total other of $316,000, total monthly $2.2 million, and we did expend $1.4 million over than what we brought in for the month of December. Now looking over here at our year-to-dates, the only thing that I'm really gonna put your attention towards is the savings here of the $2.9 million in the waiver match that was paid. And that's all due to the enhanced rate that we've been paying since the pandemic pretty much started. Now looking down below at our cash, we'll just start here with our unencumbered cash. We began the year 49.39 million with unencumbered cash. We ended the year with 1.1 million in 2020 purchase orders. We've canceled 453,000 in 2019 purchase orders, which add back to our cash balance. And then we do have a year-to-date positive variance of revenues over expenses of 3.4 million, leaving us with $52.18 million unencumbered at the end of December. Again, one of the points just being the savings in our waiver match, which shows the difference in cash as compared to this time last year. Looking at our budget versus actual, we'll just pay attention to the year-to-dates. So we've received 96.97% of the revenues we did expect to receive in. Looking down at expenses, we spent 90% of the expenses that we expected to receive in. Again, due to the waiver match and the enhanced rate that we were paying for 2020. The prior year encumbrance report has remained unchanged. You can see the amount we carried over from 2019 of 736,000, paid out 282,000 off of those 2019 POs and closed 454,000. Again, $0 remaining for those 2019 purchase orders at the end of December. Now reviewing Resolution 010221. You can see the two payrolls here, and obviously the one that we did the vacation buyback in that first payroll there. And then the breakdown of the non-payroll week by week of 989,353. There are the list of bills here if you've had a time to review those. But if there are no questions, requesting approval of Resolution 010221.
Okay, thank you, Lee. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Financials for December are approved. Going to Resolution 010321, approves the transfer of funds to the Northeast Ohio Network. I need a motion and a second.
Hickey moves.
Falvo Lang seconds.
And discussion from Lee.
Thank you, Dan. So here is an authorization for us to transfer $212,000 over to Neon to support obligations we have for family support services. Now, if you remember in 2020, and I've probably said it over and over again, but we did lose that subsidy funding from DODD that we did receive from the state, and all you would do is get it and then transfer it over to Neon. However, because of the state budget cuts, we did lose that funding. But it is our goal to obviously continue that funding, to continue the FSS program. This program promotes family unity, maximizes self-sufficiency, and prevents inappropriate institutionalization by offering an array of supports to families who are in need of these funds. So these funds were budgeted, and they would be there and transferred to replenish to continue operating that FSS program at Neon. If there are no additional questions, requesting approval of Resolution 010321.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. The resolution is approved. Now I've got Resolution 010421, approving a request of the Board of County Commissioners to go out to bid for resurfacing of the Whippledell parking lot. I need a motion to approve.
Anderson
Smith.
motions.
And a second?
Smith second.
Smith seconds, okay. Discussion from Tim Beard.
Good evening. This resolution is, again, like you said, we're requesting you guys for approval so that we can go to the County Board of Commissioners for their approval to resurface the parking lot at Whippledell Center at a cost not to exceed $170,000, including your architect and engineering fees. Bottom line is, this resolution is our hope to resurface and take down the parking lot here at Whippledell that has not been resurfaced since the initial purchase of the building in 1989. We've patched it, we've added to it, we've sealed it, we've done some striping, but it's never been completely resurfaced in over 30 years. And in some areas it really shows it. the point is we're going to take down 4 inches, relay all new parking lot. That's everything except for the new lot that was just purchased and placed last year, and bring it back up to what it needs. And hopefully we get another 30 years out of it. So, we're requesting your permission or approval so that we could take it then to the County Board of Commissioners. And that's all I got, unless you got questions.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the resolution, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No abstention. The resolution is approved. Now we got resolution 0105 approving the 2021 to 2023 strategic plan. Need a motion to approve?
Valjean moves.
Second?
Smith second.
And discussion from Bill?
Yeah, we just request your approval on the plan that was presented during new business. We gave much of the background, so it does need to this plan has to meet the Ohio Administrative Code or strategic plans for county boards, and have pretty much 8 different areas that are mandated within that plan, and we ensure that our plan does do that. So if there's any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we are requesting approval.
Okay, any other further questions on the strategic plan? With none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. The resolution is approved. Have resolution 010621 approve a request to amend the table of organization. I need a motion to approve.
Higgy moves.
Second?
Anderson.
Valjean seconds.
Okay, thank you. And then we've got discussion from Connie.
Resolution 010621 is being brought forward this evening to create 3 SSA positions. That service and support administrator really serves as the point of contact for individuals when coordinating all of their services. The addition of these 3 SSAs is in alignment with our strategic plan, and the expenses associated with these positions has been budgeted. This will be something that as the year unfolds and when the need arises, we will be hiring for these positions. It's nothing that we're going to be doing right away. Any questions?
Okay, with none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. The resolution is approved. And then we've got resolution 010721 approving a request to extend the COVID-19 emergency leave policy. I need a motion to approve.
Smith approves. Moves.
And a second?
Anderson seconds.
Okay, and discussion from Connie.
Yes, this resolution, let me just say initially, back, I think in March of last year, we did bring the Families First Coronavirus Response Act to the board. This act allowed employees to receive up to 2 weeks, 80 hours of paid sick leave if they had a qualifying COVID-19 reason for being off work. That legislation lasted through December 31st of 2020. And then when the new COVID-19 legislation came about, it did not contain an extension for this particular part of the act. However, it did state that employers could voluntarily extend the act through March 31st of 2021. So this sick leave mandate for 2 weeks or 80 hours would be expanded until March 31st of 2021. It wouldn't pay anything to folks that had already used their allotment, but for those who had not used their amount, they would be eligible to use it. Any questions?
There's no questions. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Resolution is approved. Okay, moving to second reading board policy presented at the December board meeting, and they'll be presented by Con.
Our first reading, at our first reading, we did introduce policy 4.12, personal days. But at this time, we'd like to let you know that we want to bring this policy back to you in February as a result of some changes that we feel we'd like to add to this policy that came up after first reading. So I'll just make that known at this time. And then we do have policy 4.16, which is work week and status. This policy was reviewed with no revisions. Any questions?
Okay, no questions. That brings us to resolution 010821, providing approval for board policies for second reading. Need a motion and to approve?
Anderson motions.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any other further discussion? I think we're good. All in favor of the resolution, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Board policies for second reading are approved. So I now need a motion to adjourn.
Anderson will motion that too.
All right. Is there a second in there?
Marlita second. Smith, second.
All right. All in favor of adjourning our first meeting of 2021, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. We're adjourned at 6:48. Thank you all. See
Bye,
you.
everyone. Stay safe.
Aye. Thanks.
Aye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job on the strategic plan.
Yep.
Great. Yes.